Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be my first love. Well, I've got an email here from a guy who shares his success story of how he was finally, after 3 attempts, able to attract the woman of his dreams. He actually met this particular girl back when they were in high school, but he says that he was too much of a coward back then when he was younger to do anything about it. So over the past year at a high school reunion, he ran into her, and at that point he'd been studying the pickup and seduction community. So he knew a lot of things about initial attraction skills, asking a girl out on a date, but he didn't know anything about dating successfully and then transitioning it into a relationship. And so he went through several painful experiences where things were going great, and then obviously she disappeared and blew him away because he just didn't know what he was doing. And then he found my work, and she started coming back, but at that point he'd only read the book one time and just really didn't take the time to learn the fundamentals, so he didn't know what he was doing. But the third time that she came back, by the time that happened, he'd read the book 20 times, and she was a lot more difficult the third time around, but because he'd read the book 20 times, he really did well. So he kind of details like what happened, what he did, what he said. And it's just another great success story of what you can do. Now keep in mind, I say this a lot. The people that do the best success stories are guys and girls that take the time to read my book 10 to 15 times to the point where they get to know the fundamentals so well they don't have to think about it. And what you'll see is how the fact, even though the guy read my book once and had watched several videos, he just still didn't know what the hell he was doing. It wasn't until he read it 20 times and he got to know it so well that he was able to do enough things right to attract this girl. Now she's just all over him. Things have been going great for 2 months, and it's just a great success story. And I say it all the time. It's like one of the biggest things that I see when I'm doing email coaching with people or I'm doing phone sessions. The ones that are struggling the most, that are making the most mistakes, just haven't taken the time to read the book 10 to 15 times. And that's just the way it is. If you're serious about your success in life, if you really want to master this stuff, you must do the work. I say it all the time, and no matter how many times I say it in my videos and how many success stories I read, where the people that do the best are the ones that read the book 15, 20 times. It's like, I know there's still a large percentage of people who are just going, yeah, whatever. And it's not until you get yourself into a situation like this guy was in, this was the girl of his dreams, that you get burned and you get rejected and it stings really fucking bad, that you go, maybe that shaved-headed motherfucker is onto something. Maybe I should listen to that bastard. And when they do, they get the results, and that's what this guy did. And as a coach, my job is to teach fundamentals, and it's also to help people critique their game so they can do more things right than wrong. But at the end of the day, you must participate in your own rescue. You have to do the work. You can't cherry pick information here and there from videos. You can't just skim over the book a couple of times. You can't just read a few articles on my website every now and then. You gotta read the book like you're obsessed, like literally your life depends on it. It's just like going to a class. You can't, the hard classes in college, you can't fucking half-ass your way through it. You can't just go sit in a lecture and then say, when's the test? Okay, great, I'll just show up for the test. It doesn't work. You're gonna fucking fail miserably. So I have a quote that I wrote on this particular topic, and then we're going to go through his email, and you can see the progression that he went through with this girl and was able to completely turn things around. So the quote says, when it comes to life, success, sports, becoming skilled, and adding value at your passions, you are the sum of all of your training, repetition, and practice. If you want to become good at something you are a novice at, you must study people who are already getting the results you want, do the same things they are doing, and eventually you will get the same or similar results. Time and repetition is the mother of skill. Being great and excellent at anything is the result of developing the habit of constant and consistent practice. So let's go through his email. He says, "Hi Corey, I want to share a success story that involves a girl who was my first love. This was a girl I knew for 11 years, and now we're 23. We met in middle school, and as long as I remember, I liked her, but was too much of a coward to do anything. I had that experience quite a bit in middle school and early high school. And then when I got to high school, I would just fall in love with girls who had boyfriends or were unavailable and be okay with sitting in friend zone, thinking, I'll get my chance eventually. Never fucking did. When you act like a bitch, you get nowhere. When you hesitate, you masturbate. He says, after we graduated, I didn't see her for a couple of years. 2 years ago in December, we met at a class reunion. Back then, I was fluent in the pickup routine, but still had a major lack of experience in the relationship phase. So as you can guess, I fucked it up with over-pursuing, neediness, major, he puts in big bold words, over-texting, and the nice guy approach. I tried that approach a lot when I was younger, and you know what? It never fucking worked. I did a phone session with a guy today who was in his mid-40s, and he's been hanging out with this girl. It was like half his age. And he's just buying things, taking the girl on trips. He's vomited his feelings on a number of occasions, but she keeps being adamant that she's only interested in being friends. But he keeps thinking that things are going to get better. And I gave him a hard, cold dose of reality today because he still wants to continue on that approach. I'm like, hey, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to continue to get what you've always got. And if you're happy with those results, then keep doing what you're doing. But bottom line is you paid me to give you honest feedback, and what you're doing doesn't work. I mean, you've been doing it. This particular girl has been hanging out with her for like 6-8 months, I think it was. And he's getting nowhere other than emptying his bank account and getting a really bad case of blue balls. But it's like some guys are so fucking hard-headed, it's like people don't change their belief system until they basically hit the wall, until they basically realize that it's not getting them anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this guy if he finally puts his foot down, grows a set of balls, and finally communicates what he wants and walks away unless he gets it. He says she was the one to call the most. He says I got the whole package. He says I got the whole package, and at first her attraction was at least an 8, and she was the one to call the most, gave me compliments, and was trying to set dates. Obviously she was really digging him. And there was probably a good chance that back when they were younger she probably liked him too. But he never did anything about it. He says she put up with my inner beta for 3 months, and after that, she was gone. So a couple of unsuccessful months went by, and I finally gave up. I walked away. And what a coincidence, after 2 more months, she called me to wish me Merry Christmas and asked what I was doing. I was shocked and completely confused as to what happened. Needless to say, we started dating again. 2 weeks into this, I sensed her moving away. Then I found out about your work. I reduced texting to a minimum and all around changed my approach. The effect was instant. I was shocked by how well it worked. Well, I'm not. At the time, I had read your book only once and had a lot of problems fully understanding your psychology, so I fucked up again. What does Confucius say? Success depends upon prior preparation, and without said preparation, there is sure to be failure. That's what I see over and over and over. The guys that give the best success stories, they read the book 15, 20 times. Because when you read it that much, you literally know it. You almost are at the point where you've memorized it. Because there could be one sentence in the book that is such an important thing, and if you don't know that, and you get yourself into a situation, and you have that knowledge gap, you're going to fuck it up. It's just the way it is. I asked her out 2 times when she was reaching out, but she wouldn't make a date. I walked away again. For 4 months, she was reaching out at least twice a month with a bullshit text like, "What's up?" or "Hey, I saw a great movie the other day." And of course, it reminded her of him, etc. But by that point, I was treating your book as my Bible. I've read it at least 20 times. Then suddenly, 3 months earlier, she brought up getting together. She tried to get me out to meet her downtown, but I knew that she must earn me back. I was pulling back because you notice what happened. He asked her out on 2 separate consecutive occasions, and he got nowhere. She wouldn't make a date. That's discussed in the book, and it's also right out of 7 Principles to Get an X Back, the article and video that I've done. Because you're getting, even though she's reaching out, even though she's initiating contact, she won't set dates, so you're only going to ask twice. And then from that point forward, you just keep it to, hey, it's really great to hear from you, but I got to run, keep in touch. Or 2 to 3 text replies max. You always end the same way. Got to run, keep in touch. Because unless they're making an effort to see you, it doesn't fucking matter. He says, I was pulling back and she was pushing me on. I forgot to say that in those months I was sleeping with other girls so much that I had to plan my budget because of the expanding raincoat demand. He says, oh, poor me, I know, you just suffered through that. Finally, she broke and came to my place. She was talking at least 90% of the time and apologizing to me for being so cold. She's honest. She knew she was an asshole. She knew she shouldn't have done that. And she apologized. But if he'd have kept running after her, this would have never happened. He says, which I playfully turned into a joke. That was when I felt your spiritual guidance. Seal the deal, man. We were talking for almost 2 hours. I gave her the stare at her lips test. And I was paying attention to her physiology. It was the time. I stood up to pour us a drink, and when I turned, she jumped on me like a freaking animal. I took her to my room and started to progress. Because the average guy's like, ding ding, we have a winner. I'm in like Flynn. It's on, motherfucker. But again, you're going to see in a second, the fact that he read the book 20 times at this point, he learned 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that is another reason why you got to read the book 15 to 20 times. Because these little things, because it's like he's doing all these things right, and then what happens? He gets some resistance. And if you just kind of half-assed reading the book, you're not going to get these little tiny details that make a world of difference. These are the little differences that make the difference between success and fucking blue balls. When she backed off, I backed off. When she was rubbing my back, I was rubbing her back. And by the end of the night, my deal was indeed sealed. I forgot to mention that she was a virgin up until this moment. He says, yeah, I was shocked too. Now it's been almost 2 months of constant dating, and I can tell you, I've never met a woman who was so excited to get just a second of my time. I know that was an extremely long email, but you've helped me share a life with the woman of my dreams. Thank you again. Carry on, man. Dude, well, good job for you. And the reason this guy was so successful is he followed the instructions to read the book 15 to 20 times. And if you're sitting there watching this going, fuck you, Corey, I ain't reading your fucking book 15, 20 times. You're out of your mind. I'm too busy. I'm too smart for that. Really? You can see the progression in this guy's email. Why he wasn't succeeding. He had a knowledge gap. The more he read it, the more he filled in his knowledge gap. Time and repetition is what he did. Plus he was practicing with other women. Because there's all kinds of places that you may run into resistance when you're trying to seduce a woman. I mean, in this particular case, I mean, she's 23 and she's still a virgin, which is like, wow. I mean, most girls lose their virginity when they're like 12, 13 years old these days. So, I mean, in this particular case, this girl was like not going to share herself with just any old dude. And she's all over him now. Just because he took the time to learn it. But you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. All I can do is suggest it's your life. But the bottom line is if you're sitting here watching it and internally you're feeling resistance when I say read it 10 to 15 times or even 20 times, you're going to struggle and you're going to fuck up. And then you're going to be thinking, there's going to come a point when you're stinging from the rejection, when you get blown off because you didn't listen to me, you're going to go, That fucking asshole, he was fucking right. I should have listened to the bastard. Prepare. Do the work that's necessary to read the book 10 to 15 times. That is the biggest thing as a coach that I see. That people that don't read the book are going to struggle. That's reality. Don't believe me? Okay. Go ahead and try it your way then. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to continue to get what you've always got. Definitely something to think about. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.